I don't know if it's just me, or we're just quite limited for skate parks here in Melbourne. They're either like really crusty and stuff, or quite small. But there is actually a few skate parks that buck this trend, and I do believe that Mernda Skatepark is one of those. Mernda to me is like in the middle of nowhere. No offense to anyone, but it's just like an hour drive from me. There is not much around there as well. But with that being said, the skate park is underneath a train line, which is a really great use of space in my opinion, and therefore you have a lot of space, especially that's why a lot of our better skate parks in my opinion getting built in these out the western and northern far suburbs, because there is a lot more space out there, and this skate park is quite open, quite roomy, and that's one of the things I really do like about it. The ground is quite smooth, which is a tick already. It's quite well spaced out, like I mentioned, with a range of objects like different sized quarter pipes, ledges, and even a slappy curb too, which personally, for someone like a bit more older like me, and also something that's like totally different to start learning, and that's slappy curb, so that's really welcomed in skate parks in my opinion. That's something I really do enjoy about this skate park, is that the range of different objects that there is. There you got your curbs, your ledges, a rail, like transition, hips, flat ground, there's a bit of everything. But it is actually missing one thing in my opinion, and that's probably the thing that I don't like so much about it, is it's missing a small stair set and a Euro gap. If they replace that, like, I don't know if it's called a China gap or it's just like a gap. If they replace the bank gap with a Euro gap up, stair set down, I reckon it would really make it, like, it'll top the skate park off nicely, but that's just my personal opinion. The quarters are mellow, and this mani pad right in the middle of sorts can be skated as a platform as you roll up it and then do tricks off it, or as a mani pad if you want to ollie up manual and come off the other side. And either side of the pad is grindable too, which turns into ledges, which you can actually do something on the back end of it as well, which is like a bit tricky dicky. You can either ollie up over the hip or over the ramp onto it, which is quite, like, it will be quite scary, quite doable, or come front side for me or for regular, which that's exactly where I lost my wheel when my bearing exploded. Some may hate it, love it, whatever it is, but there is a thick boy rail in the middle of the skate park too. Personally for me, I quite enjoyed it. I landed my first 50-50 on this rail. The thing about the rail, it's almost a square rail this thick is almost like a ledge that you just have to commit and balance a bit more onto, which for me I love, because I like doing ledges and stuff like that, and that's probably how I learnt my first 50-50 on a rail. Totally different to a small rail or a round rail, I mean, but it is quite enjoyable. You got a little bit of an angle leaning up to at the start of it, so you can slappy your way into it. It is quite steep, but I end up just doing like a slappy rock and roll. Bit of fun there as well, but for me, this rail is something that's like I personally appreciate. A slappy curb is always welcome, and this one is well sized. It has a nice slant to it as well. You can board slide it no worries, as the other side, that won't affect your wheels. And I somehow managed to do a slappy crook on it. I only got a picture though, no footy. I really should have set up a camera while doing it, but the picture looks pretty cool, and you can sort of tell that I actually did it, and there's witnesses. There's two hips and a bank to ledge, which is a nice change. This area is mellowish though. I'm not great at hips personally. I saw people going really ham on these. They do look like something I could really work with, and the ledge as well. I got some 50-50s on that ledge, but like for me, it's really odd, and I don't know how. If you do have any suggestions, make sure to leave them in the comments below on how do you ollie on the angle, because I don't think you can't ollie from the flat to the ledge. That would be a monster ollie. I struggle ollieing when on the side of the bank onto a flat ledge. I managed to do it a couple of times, but yeah, I really struggled. So tips, leave them down in the comments below. And while you're down there below, make sure to hit on that like button, subscribe if you're not already, it's really appreciated. For those transition skaters, there's a half pipe set up with a tombstone-like thing at the end as well. It's like a big U shape, and it comes around to the big quarter pipe as well. It's tallish from what I gather from the front, like it's probably 8 foot maybe. But it's also mellowish too from the one that I skate, like the one that I tried to skate. I only got a rock and roll on it, but like for something that big, it's probably the biggest rock and roll I've personally done. So like for me to do that, it has to be mellowish, because otherwise I just won't commit. So I really reckon it is a quite nice thing. Like I said, everything's smooth around there. Coming down into that section, you do gain a bit more speed than you think you would, because the skate park is slightly slanted over the whole skate park, which for me, doesn't really bother me. The only major slant that does bother me is that ledge. The taller ledge, it like comes in like that and a bit like that too, and I'm sure you get used to it, but it is a little bit off-putting for me personally because I'm pedantic. I'm anal about those things. It's just like it messes with my head. Things have to be right. That just doesn't feel right. With time, I'm sure it's fine. It's just especially coming backside down, it'll affect me. But the whole skate park, bit of a slant, which is a good thing because when it rains, it runs off and dries better. You do pick up more speed going down. It's just something you have to like learn with and like deal with. It's not really noticeable as you're doing a normal line, but towards the end, coming up that big quarter, at the end quarter, you do notice it. Maybe it's a thing that they do on purpose because to get the speed, who knows? Not the biggest issue in my books. Overall, this is actually one of the better skate parks in Melbourne in my opinion, especially one of the better skate parks that I've personally visited and skated. It is smooth, it's big, it's open, it's got a different range of objects. I had hours of fun here. I would actually drive back another hour just to skate this again because I like the quarters. There's like 2 different size quarters that I can skate, then I can work up to the bigger one as well. It's got the fat big boy rail. You got your mani pad or like platform that you can roll up. So I can roll up fakie. I did a half cab off something for the first time and that was there. So you can practice that type of stuff quite easily as well. I really appreciate being able to roll up onto a ledge and do something off it instead of having to try do an ollie or 180 because that can throw you off in your footing. So that's something I appreciate. The hips that I would appreciate too, personally, just need to get a little bit better at it. Everything for me just works nicely for the skate park. It's really open, so you can muck around with flat ground and stuff like that and not get in any way. It was just that one little addition, like I would remove that, like the gap, put in like a Euro stair set, and even if it's like a 3 or 4 stair, it's something to jump down, something to change it up. Some people might like a little bit of a down rail as well, and especially that ledge, water can pool down the bottom of it because it comes in there, it meets in the middle, which is normally the opposite of what you see how skate parks being built now. If you look at a lot of newer skate parks, or what I see in Melbourne anyway, the ground slopes away from the edge. So like you got your middle of your ledge here and the ends, the concrete goes like this. It almost feels like you're getting a ramp. That's so when it does rain, the water pools away from the ledge. So if you're in Melbourne and within an hour of the skate park or Mernda Skatepark, I definitely suggest going and checking out. I reckon you'd have some fun. I had some fun. And if you're in Melbourne, make sure to leave any suggestions down in the comments below, what skate parks I should check out and some of your favorite ones too. But until then, I'll catch you guys in a new video soon. Stay safe, keep killing it, and well, that's it. Peace.